What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another collaboration beer. This time between Brujos Brewing, and they're out of Portland, Oregon, and the Fidens Brewing Company, and they're out of Albany, New York, and this is their Magister Ignis. So they are calling this one Imperial Hazy IPA that is double dry hopped with Superdelic, Citra Lupomax, and Nelson Sauvin hops. It comes in at 8.1% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is approximately 6 weeks old. I'm going to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel, for this beer. So big thanks to him. He recently sent me a box of beer that was small by his standards, only 5 beers. And I asked him, I was like, do you want me to do a beer mail unboxing or just shout you out in the review? He's like, don't do a beer mail unboxing, just enjoy the beers, because that's the type of dude he is. And let me just tell you, I am super stoked for this one because this is my first Brujos beer that not only am I reviewing, but trying for the first time. And it's a collaboration between them and Fidens. And if you're talking about some of the top tier hyped breweries when it comes to hazy beers, Brujos and Fidens probably in the top 3, if not, yeah, probably top 3, definitely top 5. When you hear, for me, the top 3 in terms of hype whenever I hear is Troon, Brujos, and Fidens. I'm sure there's others and whatnot out there, but those are the ones that get a lot of pub. And when I saw this in the box, I was like, just kind of stunned. I'm like, that's insane. He sent me what he liked to call a 4-pack of hype. So there's 4 beers in there, very hyped, and they sent me a barrel-aged Imperial Stout from AleSmith, a Speedway Stout, a variant. So I think that was pretty cool. Anyway, to make a long story even longer, I'm stoked to try this one. Let's crack it open and get in the glass. I'm super pumped. 6 weeks old, not super fresh, but he specifically was like, he knows I don't like the hop burn a lot. So, a little bit of an age on a beer like this or like hazies for me, I really do enjoy that. I drink a lot of my hazies 4 to 6 weeks old. So this is right in the wheelhouse of what I want. And we're doing hashtag proper glassware, but not really. Half Fidens. So, it is what it is. But anyway. So this beer, kind of looks like a lot of these, Instagram beers you'll see. And the, the artwork, this is what people love. The whole spiel, they have crafting liquid spells and the whole 9. So a lot of people love the artwork and whatnot. I think I dig it. It's awesome. But, I don't go too crazy about the artwork. I want to talk about the liquid inside. So that has this really deep kind of, hazy lemon kind of color to it. But on camera, it's going to look a bit darker. In person, hold up to light. Yeah, it just has that, murky and turbid look to it. A lot of folks like their beers that look like this nowadays when you're talking about hazy doubles and triples. Has just under a finger of an off-white, almost eggshell white colored head. Pretty creamy looking. Some alcohol legs on the side. Yeah, milky looking. It plays the role of what you're kind of, expecting, especially with the Fidens glass, Yeah, I've seen a lot of Fidens beers and drank a lot of Fidens beers that look like this. Anyway, knows. Oh. Okay, so I see why the hype is real based on the nose alone. This is, to me, remember, Superdelic, Citra Lupomax, and Nelson. This is a beautiful, at least for me in the nose, mixture of crushed sweet pineapple and juicy white grapes. That's what I'm getting in the nose. It's fucking superb. It's almost like old school Galaxies in here. I'm getting a little bit of like a vanilla, sweeter kind of candied note. A lot of times that can come from the hops. A lot of times the breweries use lactose in a beer, and they don't have to say. So I'm not saying this beer uses lactose, but if it did, I wouldn't be surprised based on the nose. It's giving me almost like a pineapple creamsicle kind of feel. There's this nice dank herbaceousness in the nose too. Not quite like straight on like marijuana, but like approaching that level of dankness. Underlying citrus like lemon, orange, tangerine, tangelo, depending on how you want to say it. Yeah, it's a fruit bowl of awesomeness. I really like that dank character. I'm hoping that dank herbaceousness is kind of backed up by like a mild to moderate bitterness or some kind of substantial dryness. I don't love hazies that are super sweet leaning, whether it's a double or triple. That's biggest issue with like, over 8% beers for me when it comes to these hazies is if there's something that can balance out the sweetness and you don't get any booze. That's what I'm kind of looking for. And I'll tell you right now, this is a top tier nose for a hazy. It really is. It smells awesome. It smells like juice, but with a lot of complexities. Anyway, let's get it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Sierra Hotel. I'm so nervous drinking this. Why? I don't know. It's just beer. And that's really good. Really good. And what I asked for before I took this sip is here. Give me something that's just not straight on fruit juice, which I know a lot of folks who love hazies and New England styles. That's what they look for. They look for those juice bombs that are sweet, and it's like drinking fruit juice at 8%, 9%. I get it. I can get down with those, but my preference is what I'm drinking right here, which is a really nice semi to full on dry finish with this, I'd say almost moderate dank herbaceous kind of bitterness. Body mouthfeel. This is not super thick. This is like lower side of full body, 8.1%. It's definitely bigger than that from a body standpoint, but I don't think anybody's gonna be disappointed with the body of this. The mouthfeel, it's soft, it's smooth, it's creamy. Maybe a little bit more carbonation than I anticipated looking at the beer, because this is like mild to moderately carbonated, more approaching moderately. So that might be an issue for some. I enjoy it. I do like when the beer is close to moderately carbonated, but still has like that smooth creaminess going on. That's what this is. Right up front, I'm hit with this bready, almost vanilla thing. Dives underneath the palate. It's omnipresent, never steps in the way, but it's kind of there. Maybe it's from the yeast, maybe one of the hops, maybe some of the malt, maybe a little bit of that lactose I was talking about, but it's definitely there. Not super noticeable, but it's definitely underneath the palate. But right at the front of the palate, I get a lot of citrus. I get lemon, orange, tangelo, things of that nature. But then it gets into that crushed pineapple, that juicy white grape. I'm getting a little bit more of like a overripened honeydew melon. Maybe a cantaloupe, some kind of melon. Again, it finishes, we'll say semi-dry with a moderate dank herbaceousness. It has a slight green vegetal thing, and there's a whisper left of like a hop burn, but I only notice it because it's a little bit in the back of the throat, so it's very minute. But probably drinking this a week or two old, probably the hop burn would be a little bit more in my face. I'm more sensitive to the hop burn, it seems, than a lot out there. So I do think that freshness would be probably not as good for me personally, but I'm glad I'm drinking this 6 weeks old because I think it's right in the wheelhouse of what I want out of it. So does Brewhouse live up to the hype for the first beer? I would say yeah. It's kind of like the first time I had Fidens. First time I had any Fidens beers, I got a 4-pack from my good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber, Kyle over at No Hype Beer Reviews. And every single beer I got from them was a 4.25 to a 4.5, somewhere in that realm, right? Nothing absolutely blew my doors off when I had them for the first time, but nothing was under a 4.25. So it was like the consistency and just the quality of the beer kind of stood out in my mind. I'm like, wow, I tried 4 beers. They're 4.25 to 4.5 rating wise in my mind. Shout out to the car going by and playing music extremely loud, in the early morning. Cheers. But that's where I kind of am with this one. It's like I've had other beers, top tier beers in this realm where, the body and mouthfeel are great. The taste has that nice, balance. It's not too sweet. I get a lot of fruity character, but it's not overdone. It's just very well crafted. And, I would happily drink this again and just delicious. And it's not lost on me how cool it is that somebody sent me this, because I know Brewhouse stuff, just like Troon and just like even, Fidens a little easier now since they opened up. Fidens been a little easier to get over like the last 6 months, but Brewhouse and Troon and some of these crazy breweries, not easy to get. So for a viewer of the channel, someone who I'd consider a friend now, sending me stuff like this is not lost on me how cool that is. And, I'm really happy to be able to try this, and I think it has lived up to the hype. Is this the best beer I've ever had? No. Is this even the best, 8.1% or 8%, hazy double IPA or Imperial IPA I've ever had? No. Is it in the conversation? It could be up there. It could definitely be up here. Definitely one of the better ones I've had this year. We'll say that. So, Brewhouse in collaboration with Fidens. Oh yeah, 8.1%. A little bit of warming in chest, nothing on the palate, so I think it's fine. Their Magister Ignis. I am going to give this a high 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this a 4.6 out of 5. I think that's where this one lands. That's a crazy high score, obviously. And like I said, one of the best, hazy double IPAs or Imperial IPAs I've had this year, without question. Kudos to them for the can art and, their whole moniker and everything. Like it's, I can definitely see why people get behind them, especially on Instagram. Very catchy. especially when they post their pictures and whatnot. But it's really cool to be able to try one. So price point availability, this is where I absolutely have no idea. So if anybody out there knows what they charge for something like this at the brewery, let me know. Availability, I'm pretty sure all this shit is brewery only. So unless you plan on hitting up Brujos at some point, and probably I would assume waiting in line or whatever the case may be at the brewery. I know Troon, you know, it's tough to get their stuff. Fidens nowadays, much easier to get their stuff. But if anybody out there knows the price point availability, post in the comment section. I'd love to know. I'm sure on secondary these go probably, you know, for like $10 a can or something crazy. But I'd imagine they're probably $20 to $24 a 4-pack at the brewery. So if you've had anything from Brujos or you've had anything or this specific beer, post in the comment section. What's been your favorite? Is there any I should keep my eye out for? Which I'll be honest with you, I'll probably never get my hands on a Brujos again. That's a little bit extreme, but it's probably few and far between the ones that I will be able to try down the road. But you know, I'm really happy I was able to get one of their beers, and it lived up to the hype, at least in my mind. So huge thanks, Sierra Hotel, for this beer. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.